person in survival mode. In 2026, the ones crushed by a system that treats the wealthy with ease, and the poor with hoops, rules, and impossible demands. From workers told to prove their worth, to elders losing most of their social security just to stay alive. This piece is dedicated to every human being in survival mode in 2026. The ones carrying the weight of a system whose meanness keeps sliding downward from the top to the bottom. To the people who face two different versions of healthcare depending on the size of their bank account. To the ones forced through hoops, rules, and regulations just to receive the care others get without question. To the workers told by their employers, prove your worth before you earn your right to be healthy. To the elderly living on fixed incomes, borrowing payday loans, watching more than half of their social security check vanish before the month even begins. This is for everyone who has been denied, delayed, dismissed, or diminished, not because of their humanity, but because of their income. This is for the ones who keep going anyway.
The powers that be. A sovereign riff in two voices, now rooted in human history.
The powers that be don't care about you or me.
They sit in high towers counting coins while we count bricks.
They take from the poor to cushion the rich.
They call it policy,
but it feels like a hand in our pockets. They cut the benefits, slice the safety net, shrink the lifeline.
then tell us to be grateful for the scraps that fall from the banquet table.
They say it's budgeting,
But it looks a lot like siphoning.
they say it's restructuring,
But it feels like erasure dressed in paperwork.
they say we're here to help, but the help always comes with a lock, a limit, a loophole.
And still we navigate.
Because the powers that be don't know the power we carry.
The power of the trio.
The doctor, the sovereign, and the mythic witness. We see the system clearly, and we move through it anyway.
The human example. They don't want us to remember. Before the 1970s, before Nixon opened the door for hospitals to become for-profit corporations, healthcare was a human thing, not a business model. A woman could walk into a clinic with nothing but a fever in her name, and the first question wasn't,
Who's your insurer?
it was, how long have you felt sick?
Doctors weren't racing to meet billing quotas. Nurses weren't drowning in denial codes. People weren't terrified of the ambulance bill that might follow them home like a ghost. Care was a community act, a hand on the shoulder, a chart on the bedside table, a neighbor keeping another neighbor alive.
Then the laws changed. Hospitals became revenue streams. Patients became cost centers. And the poor who once were simply people became risks to be managed.
That's the shift I'm talking about,
Not politics.
not parties.
Just a moment when care stopped being a human right and started being a business plan. The pattern beneath the pattern. Our situation isn't an isolated incident. It's the same old story.
System built around profit first.
People at the bottom carrying the weight, judgment of the poor instead of accountability for the wealthy.
I'm not imagining that pattern,
I've lived it.
I've watched it repeat.
And every time I run into it, whether it's hospice rules, insurance loopholes, or policy changes, it hits the same nerve. Because the contradiction is always the same. People with the least are expected to jump through the most hoops.
People with the most are given the widest freedom.
And still,
I move through it,
I navigate it.
I refuse to disappear inside it.
And maybe that's why this moment in time hits so hard, because I remember a time when care wasn't a maze.
When you didn't need a translator, a lawyer, and a miracle just to get a simple test approved. When a nurse could look you in the eye and say, we'll take care of you, and it meant something real, not something filtered through 6 layers of billing codes.
Back then, care was a relationship.
Now it's a transaction.
Back then, a doctor could decide about one's health based on what one's body needed.
Now they have to check what the insurance algorithm allows.
Back then, the question was,
How do we help this person?
Now the question is,
Who's paying for this?
and how fast?
Can we get them out the door?
And the people making these rules, the ones who say no specialists,
No tests, no exceptions.
they're not the ones sitting in waiting rooms with fear in their stomachs.
They're not the ones waking up at 4 a.m. for procedures that might get canceled.
They're not the ones juggling hospice rules, insurance loopholes, and the emotional weight of simply trying to stay alive.
They're not the ones living the consequences.
We are.
And that's the part that makes us human, not political.
Because this isn't about left or right, it's about care.
It's about dignity,
It's about the simple truth that every person deserves to be treated like a human being.
not a liability.
When I talk about the powers that be,
I'm not talking about parties or elections.
I'm talking about the machinery that decides who gets care and who gets denied.
Who gets compassion and who gets paperwork? Who gets a lifeline and who gets a loophole?
And still here I am,
Navigating,
breathing.
refusing to disappear.
Cause even in a system built to exhaust us, there's a power they can't touch.
Power of clarity,
The power of community.
the power of naming what's happening out loud.
The power of saying,
I see you,
I see the pattern.
and I'm not afraid to speak it. This piece is dedicated to every human being in survival mode in 2026. The ones carrying the weight of a system whose meanness keeps sliding downward from the top to the bottom. To the people who face two different versions of healthcare, depending on the size of their bank account. To the ones forced through hoops, rules, and regulations, just to receive the care others get without question. To the workers told by their employers, prove your worth before you earn your right to be healthy. To the elderly living on fixed incomes, borrowing payday loans, watching more than half of their social security checks vanish before the month even begins. To the ones who were denied care not because they lacked humanity, but because they lacked money. This is for everyone who has been delayed, dismissed, diminished, or pushed aside. And for everyone who keeps going anyway. This piece